dedicate this July 4th, 2021 Twitch TV episode to Winnipeg's rich and active fanish scene. So ready? Here we go. Winnipeg and Manitoba have quite a diverse selection. Oh, well, that doesn't help, does it? I sincerely apologize. Let me try that again. The Winnipeg in 2023 Worldcon Bid Committee has asked me to dedicate this July 4th, 2021 Twitch TV episode to Winnipeg's rich and active fanish scene. So let's do this again. Ready? Here we go. Winnipeg and Manitoba have quite a diverse selection of fan activities. Pre-COVID, we had at least one fanish event happening every month, or almost every month, and they weren't all cookie-cutter editions of each other either. I'll get into more detailed explanations in a moment, but first, here is the major events list for the year based on pre-COVID activity and not counting a lot of smaller comics and collectible shows. We had, to start the year off, KeyCon Light happening in late January or early February, which is general science fiction and fantasy, plus an evening meal and a dance, which we call a social. Icon comes up in February. That is Icon Winterfest, which is their smaller event. The main event is later in the year. Icon Winterfest is a Japanese pop culture show, and again, that happened in February. The Manitoba Comic Con comes up in April. The Prairie Comics Festival comes up in early May, and the Prairie Comics Festival is more devoted to getting professionals together to have tables and run panels and basically have contact with the fans. Then we have KeyCon, my favorite event of the year, which is general science fiction and fantasy with a literary bent, always held on the Victoria Day-long weekend in mid-May. Next up, we have Prairie Con, the brand and gaming convention, which is the first weekend in June. There is FanQuest, which is a pop culture expo, also in June. Swords and Sabers, an outdoor steampunk / pirate / Renaissance festival, also in June. June is a very busy month because there's also the Pride Parade, which quite a few groups take part in. Then we have Icon itself, the main show, a Japanese pop culture expo in July. While Prairie Fur Con, which is the furry fandom convention, comes up in early August. Then we have the annual Steampunk Tea, which is, as you might have guessed, steampunk themed with games plus a high tea in August. EnterCon, which is a Transformers convention, doesn't happen every year, but when it does, it tends to happen in August. The Winnipeg Comic Con, which this year is being run by a new group of people who have run conventions nationally, comes up at the end of October, usually on the Halloween weekend. And Gametoba, Manitoba's tabletop gaming convention, happens in mid-November. And then, of course, we start running into the Christmas craft sale season when it's hard to run a convention effectively. Let's start by looking at the longest running event, which would be KeyCon, my favorite, which takes place every Victoria Day long weekend in Winnipeg. KeyCon celebrated its 38th year with a virtual convention in 2021 and is looking forward to an in-person convention in 2022. KeyCon hosts between 300 and 500 attendees each year and features several programming tracks, an art show in a dealer's room, an entire hotel floor dedicated to themed hospitality suites, which change every year, and so much more, including, I have to tell you, Club Elevate. Well, what is Club Elevate, you may ask? The hotel elevators in the Radisson are mirrored on the inside. So somebody got the bright idea of taking one of these mirrored hotel elevators, building a tiny little DJ booth that fits into the corner of the elevator, complete with, disco lights and a disco ball and a sound system big enough for a disco space. And basically, on Saturday night, they turn one of the elevators into a nightclub, Club Elevate. And you can hear it coming. You're waiting for the elevator on the 15th floor, and you can hear from like the 12th floor, boom, ba, 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 ba, and then the doors open and there's people dancing, or kind of dancing like this, because 13 people is all Club Elevate can hold. And so yeah, Club Elevate has been a feature of KeyCon for the last few years, and one that I dearly love. I've been to every KeyCon but one, as everything from an attending fan up to a guest of honor, and it's an awesome experience on every single level. And here's one of my most treasured KeyCon souvenirs. It's an I Am Iron Man bracelet, which a dealer very kindly gifted me at KeyCon 34, which was the year I was fan guest of honor. So I cherish this. It's a beautiful little bracelet. For KeyCon 39 in 2022, I will be holding my usual giveaway of a free membership to someone in financial need, as well as hosting the KeyCon Newcomer Dinner. To learn more about KeyCon, and I really suggest you do, look up the Hooray for KeyCon video on YouTube for my own personal perspective on this amazing and very long-lived convention. And now, let's jump to one of the newer events. And I have a prop. You guessed it, it's Wild Prairie Fur Con, Winnipeg's own furry convention. Wild Prairie Fur Con will be holding a virtual convention in August of this year, and is also looking forward to an in-person event in 2022. I attended the first Wild Prairie Fur Con in 2018, intending to only stay for a few minutes because I'd really bought my membership just to support a new event. And I figured I'd pick up my badge, hang around for 10 minutes feeling awkward, because I didn't know anybody, and then my social anxiety would kick in and I'd be out the door. Instead, as soon as I walked in the door, 2 people in full fursuits waved at me as they went by and said, "Hi, Lori, how's it going?" To which I went, "Hi, hello, I have no idea who you are." But they were very nice people. I wound up leaving after midnight that night, having made about 10 new friends. The warmth and friendliness of the local furry community totally won me over, to the point that I'm now on the ConCom for the Wild Prairie Fur Con. If you'd like to learn more about them, and again I suggest you do, they're a lot of fun, look up a YouTube video titled "Why Wild Prairie Fur Con is Awesome" for my personal perspective on that convention as well. Ears off. In terms of the biggest locally run convention, ICON in July, with the additional smaller Winterfest event in February, is right up there with nearly 6,000 people attending in 2019. This Japanese pop culture and entertainment expo has lots to offer. Not only a gigantic dealer's room, which you would expect at an event that size, but also a ton of fascinating panels. Everything from Saturday morning cartoons, where I discovered my new favorite anime, The Fantastic Adventures of Unico, to costuming seminars, to how to make your own sushi, and much, much more. This was another convention which I attended even though it's not my primary area of interest, because I'd won 2 free weekend passes at a KeyCon event. And I expected to be bored, to be brutally honest, but instead I found so much to keep me occupied and ended up making more new friends, including Laura Richards, who crafted this adorable crocheted unicorn. Isn't that sweet? I couldn't resist, I had to have them. Purple is my favorite color. 10 out of 10 for ICON. Will attend again. The Winnipeg Comic Con, happening at the end of October this year, has been recently brought to our city by a Montreal-based corporation to replace Winnipeg's old Comic Con, which ran successfully for many, many years. They have not yet had the opportunity to run an in-person event in Winnipeg, but given their track record with other shows across Canada, we look forward to a knock-it-out-of-the-park pop culture experience. My husband purchased a VIP pass for me as a gift in 2019, and I still look forward to using it when the Comic Con returns. In the meantime, they are holding regular online events via their Facebook page, including some really cool auctions. And look at this item. Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Look at this item. I won in one of their Facebook auctions. It's Patrick Warburton and Seinfeld as Putty. 2 of my husband's favorite things, Patrick Warburton and Seinfeld. It was his birthday gift this year. I paid something like $125 for it. Thank you, Winnipeg Comic Con. I'm happy to have been able to contribute to your auction. And I simply must mention one of our smaller events, the annual Steampunk Tea hosted by the Society for the Ethical Treatment of Kraken. I've attended 2 of their teas, held at a lovely and very Victorian local church, where I enjoyed steampunk-themed games, awesome cosplays, a mummy unwrapping, musical acts including an organ recital on an organ roughly the size of the Death Star, a radio play, and of course some tasty tea served with many delicious goodies. Check their website, subgenres.net, that is SUBGENRES, I did it, .net, for more info on the many communities under their umbrella, including the steampunk community, obviously, a book club, a vampire community, a cryptozoology group, a conglomerate of villains, which sounds, suitably, ominous, costume sewing, gun modders and prop building, fun-loving medieval reenactors, and a Winnipeg-based historical reenactment group. Then that sounds interesting. So that's a taste of the convention scene. What about the standalone groups in Winnipeg? Winnipeg has at least one highly active Vampire the Masquerade LARP group, which has been running for well over a couple of decades now. It has legs. Different individuals host various cosplay get-togethers and photo shoots throughout the year around the city. We have WINSFA, the Winnipeg Science Fiction Association, which is the administrative body for KeyCon. The Manitoba Ghostbusters make a point of showing up at many local events with their awesome cosplay, plus a customized motor vehicle. Along with Icon and KeyCon, they make a point of marching in Winnipeg's massive annual Pride Parade. The Wild Prairie Furs hold get-togethers for photo shoots, fundraising for local animal organizations, camping, and even bowling nights. Bowling nights in fursuits, that sounds like a lot of fun. I put out a call on the KeyCon and other groups asking for groups that I probably hadn't heard of, and this is one. The Royal Manticorian Navy, celebrating the work of David Weber and the universe he created. Within the group structure, you can be military or a civilian, and can partake in drills or other activities based on the in-book organization. To quote their site, whether you like to cosplay or just get together with friends for games, movies, and fellowship, the RMN is a place for you. The Celestial Hooligans are a Doctor Who group. They hold discussions, meet-up, cosplay events, and watch parties pertaining to Doctor Who, Torchwood, and Sarah Jane adventures. Bit of trivia, they evolved from a group called the Whovians of Winnipeg, which I helped to found back in the 1980s. So it's nice to see it continue. Iacon North is a Manitoba Transformers fan club that started in 2019 through internet connection and communication, then meetups and fan tables at local conventions. During this time, they promoted local fan art, other Transformer events, and interacting with guests and hosting Transformer panels. In 2012, they started to organize their own Winnipeg convention, EnterCon, and since 2014, EnterCon has been held on 5 different occasions, bringing Transformers fans, exhibitors, actors, and artists from around North America together here in Winnipeg. I've actually attended an EnterCon, as I said, and look at this. Look at this. This is adorable. One of the events was a Creo building station, and I built my own Creo. Isn't he adorable? Look at this. His little propeller on his back. It actually spins. And he's got his little binoculars and his little sword. I mean, they had a big box of parts, and for a $2 fee, you got to go through the box of parts and build your own Creon. So I still have him all these years later. So that tells you how much I treasure that little memento. Turning from futuristic robots to a fascination with the past. The Barony of Wildguard is a large-scale fantasy LARP group which focuses as much on role-playing as on LARP battle skills. I actually went to one of their Yule events and was a judge there for the art portion of the event, and wonderful folks. They had a role-play town of Wildguard that has now expanded into a full barony. They have guests that are suggested by and events run by members, an extensive organizational system based on the Amtgard template, and they even have stuff like town roles. In their own words, it is a recreation of the sword and sorcery genre in the medieval period, using safe padded replicas of medieval weaponry and period authentic clothing. Participants are also encouraged to explore their creative sides with a range of skills from armoring and weapons crafting to sewing, painting, dancing, and singing. And I was treated during the feast at the Yule event to some of the dancing and singing. Very, very nice stuff. In terms of the Society for Creative Anachronism, turning a little bit 90 degrees, Winnipeg is home to the Barony of Castle Rouge, which engages in medieval life reconstruction, including costuming, dancing, calligraphy, heraldry and related arts, cookery, archery, armed combat, and many other fascinating activities. The Historical European Martial Arts Organization, or HEMA for short, involves the study and practice of historical European fighting techniques. As a community, they are working at bringing back to life the dead arts of the old European masters. And of course, we can't forget the members of the 501st Legion, bad guys doing good from the Star Wars universe, which has several Winnipeg members. We also have a contingent of River City Jedi, which is an LED saber combat group inspired to bring real-world martial arts to the fantasy genre of Star Wars. I haven't heard of any forced battles happening at the Forks yet, but if they do, I'll be sure to have a camera crew on hand to catch all the exciting action. Now, Manitoba is one of the most generous provinces in Canada in terms of donating to worthy causes, so it's no surprise that many local conventions and groups incorporate supporting charities into their activities. KeyCon, for example, chooses a different local charity each year, And while Prairie Fur Con is a stalwart supporter of Craig Street Cats, an organization which helps feral cat populations in our city. That is just a small taste of what Winnipeg and Manitoba have to offer on the Vanish front. The Winnipeg in 23 Bid Committee looks forward to working with all of these events and groups to bring our 81st WorldCon members an absolutely stellar convention experience. We hope to recruit volunteers from all aspects of local fandom, so any offers of assistance will be warmly welcomed. I'd like to thank Amanda Kayla Brandt, Robert J. Langton, and Michael David Edward Hoffer for very kindly supplying me with information on several local groups. I couldn't have done it without you folks. Thank you. When this broadcast is propagated to YouTube, please feel free, if you know of any other organizations or groups, to add the names and write-ups for other local events and groups in the video comment section. We'd love to hear that. To learn more about the Winnipeg in 23 WorldCon bid, please visit our website. Simply Google Winnipeg in 23 WorldCon and our website should be in the top 3 results. And remember, next weekend is our monthly Zoom social. To be put on the notifications list for that, go to the Contact Us section on our website. Again, Google Winnipeg in 23 WorldCon, and we should be in the top 3 results. Go to the Contact Us section on our website and drop us a note with the words subscribe socials somewhere in the body text. And when the socials come up, you will be informed by email. And that's it for today, folks. Until we next meet virtually, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to make sure you don't miss a minute of the excitement that's coming up from the Winnipeg in 23 Bid Committee. For a truly stellar 81st World Science Fiction Convention experience, vote Winnipeg in 2023 for a venue that offers all the big city conveniences combined with the best of hometown hospitality.